In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Nothing changes. He was right then. He would be right now if he said it now. Yeah. Former President Reagan, you heard him right there. But Donald Trump is taking up the torch, trying to scale back big government, especially in this new budget proposal that he's got that comes out next Tuesday. And look who's here. None other than President Reagan's former budget director, David Stockman. All right, first of all, Tuesday we get details of this budget, which is planned to balance the budget over a 10-year period, cutting back on Medicaid, food stamps, discretionary spending, not touching Social Security or Medicare, and relying on 3% growth per year. You're going to pour cold water all over it, aren't you?
No, I'm going to say if dogs could whistle, the world would be a chorus. Okay? It would be a wonderful thing. But unfortunately, they don't have the elements to get there. You said, and you had a nice quote from Ronald Reagan, but the difference is back in 1981, the national debt was $1 trillion. Now it's $20 trillion. Back then, if we looked out a few years, we had a surplus, so we could cut taxes, raise defense a little bit, and think we could get to a balanced budget. Today, we have $10 trillion of new debt built in from current policy before one dime of tax cuts or any of Trump's
I got to interrupt because they're not talking about getting rid of the $20 trillion that we've accumulated in debt.
No,
they're simply talking about on a year-to-year basis, we don't increase the debt or the deficit.
No, that's Stuart. That's the big myth here. There is $10 trillion more built in, an average of $1 trillion a year of deficit for the next 10 years based on current taxes and current spending. And essentially, Trump wants to do nothing about the spending. Defense is going up. The FBI is going up. Veterans are going up. Infrastructure spending. And the cuts that he has talked about, McConnell said Sunday on national TV, they're dead in the water, we do our own thing, and we're not going to do any of those cuts. I proposed the same ones in 1981, like a 30% cut in EPA. Never happened. NIH, way out of control, cut it back. Congress raises it. So what I'm saying is that if you're increasing defense and then you're basically ring-fencing the huge entitlement, Social Security, Medicare, and related, which is $2 trillion a year of spending, you're not going to come remotely close to balancing the budget.
Well, okay, I got it. Yeah. But look, are you saying that you can never reduce the scale of government significantly? You can never do it until we have an awful crash which makes us do it. That's your position.
Well, that might be the catalyst, but it's easy to do on paper. We don't need to have a hysteria about Russia and the Chinese and, the terrorists in the Middle East and so forth and increase defense by $50 billion a year. It's already way too big. Cut it. We can reform Social Security. For the affluent guys like you and me, we should lose our Social Security. We don't need it. Cut it back. Those would be the kind of things that could put the budget on a path towards sustainability. We're heading towards national bankruptcy.
Okay, you cannot balance the budget year to year unless you go after Medicare and or Social Security.
That's what I'm saying.
Both of them, essentially.
Yeah.
They cannot be sacred cows.
Right.
They cannot be ring-fenced. You've got to go at it.
Right.
Otherwise, you are grease. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, absolutely. Because if you look at EPA's budget, it's $8 billion a year. You look at Medicare and Social Security, it's $1.8 trillion a year and growing rapidly.
But you can never reform Social Security drastically because there are too many political groups who will oppose any and all change.
I agree with you. Right now, there's 60 million beneficiaries of Social Security. By the end of the decade, this 10-year thing, horizon they're talking about, there'll be 80 million. And the longer you wait, the more beneficiaries there are. The baby boom is retiring at 10,000 a day. And within 5 years, we'll be in an impossible vice.
Within 5 years?
Yeah.
And it's Social Security and Medicare that do that.
Yeah, because they'll be insolvent from a trust fund basis by 2026. It will cause an automatic 30% reduction in benefits. There will be insurrection in the country. This is what we're heading for, and whatever Donald Trump may aspire to do, and I say more power to him, he doesn't have a clue as to what a viable framework for fiscal policy is.
Back to Social Security.
Yeah.
The only way to fix it would be, tax increases, right? Plus an increase in the retirement age, plus a withdrawal of some, like, cost of living allowances, for example. You do all of those three, and you've reformed Social Security, and you can't do either of them.
You can't do any of those, but I think the better one would be to means test it. If you're above $50,000 a year and you've got private savings and you've been prudent and so forth, you have not earned your full Social Security check and Medicare either. No one has. The average retiree with a wife living on Trump's golf course in Florida is taking down $40,000 a year in Medicare and Social Security benefits. Nobody earned that much. So take that duffer and tell him, you know, you're not getting it, all right? And that's what we need to do, but no one is telling them that. And frankly, you know,
we're going to hell in a handbasket. Is that what you're saying there,
well,
David
you know,
Stockman?
you would hate to say that, but how long?
Yes,
how long does it take?
That's
okay,
what you're
yes,
saying.
We are.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
I've seen you on TV saying
okay,
that.
okay.
Stockman, come back, okay?
Okay, we'll do that.
I was going to say you're all right, but I'm going to judge it. Thank you.